Welcome back to Podcast Conversations on Philippine History, Politics, and Society. We are your hosts. I am Vekal Porha.
I am Lee Candelaria.
At ako si Joselito Ebro.
So ngayon, nagkapatuloy tayo sa ating latest season, Objects of Philippine Life. And very interesting itong iconic object na tatalakayin natin ngayon. Kasi sigurado ako, one way or another, nakita na ninyo itong particular work of art na to. At ito ay walang iba kundi yung Spoliarium ni Juan Luna. It's so famous, it inspired rock songs, and so controversial na hanggang ngayon ay pinagdedebatihan pa rin.
Yeah, talk about iconic. Iconic talaga itong painting na to. Ang dami nating pwedeng pag-usapan actually tungkol sa Spoliarium. Kasi naman, it has been through everything. It has been through wars, bad restorations, even being sliced up like a pizza. but somehow it survived to become our most powerful artistic symbol.
Yun nga. Naalala ko, first time ko siya makita, sobrang nagulat ako na ganun pala siya kalaki. Kasi the way na binabasa natin siya sa libro, akala natin alam na natin. Pero iba talaga pag na-experience mo yung artwork na ito. Parang basketball court yung laki ng ng painting.
Oo, ang laki talaga. And like for example, 'di ba, yung Mona Lisa ni Da Vinci, pag nakita mo, sabi nila, medyo madi-disappoint ka kasi ang liit eh. Pero yung Spoliarium talagang ang laki niya. And another fascinating thing about this painting is how it's, it's lived multiple lives, kumbaga. Kasi para sa iba, it's high art. Para sa iba, it's a history lesson, 'di ba? Mas kilala siya bilang isang historical piece kaysa work of art. Yung iba naman, parang backdrop lang for selfies. Ito yung medyo nakakatawa kasi nung huli akong umubing Pilipinas, ito lang, pumunta kaming National Museum. Tapos, di ba, yung Spoliarium, very grotesque. Tapos yung mga tao, nagsiselfie sila doon, like, like cute selfies and like happy selfies. And it's super weird to look at. Pero, yun nga. So, what we can't question though is that the Spoliarium has this magnetic quality that draws millions of visitors every year.
So popular naman talaga itong Spoliarium, no? And in fact, noong 2024, the government released this limited edition beep cards na nandoon yung Spoliarium. And guess what? 500 pesos yun isa.
Social.
And that's like 16 times the regular price. And sold out yun agad in 3 days. So, yung 1,500 the first day or the first batch, isang araw pa lang, ubos na. So, sobrang makikita dun kung gaano ka-popular itong painting na ito.
Grabe no, pero kung isipin mo rin yung Spoliarium, it's high art na naging part na rin ng commuter culture. Kasi nga kung may beep card ka, parang dala mo siya everywhere. I like that idea.
Yes. So, parang nilalapit mo yung itong iconic work of art na to sa masa, no? So ngayon, we'll explore how a painting about dying Roman gladiators became the unlikely mirror of Filipino identity. So from Juan Luna's smelly studio in Rome to the Eraserhead's mysterious song, ito na yung kwento ng painting na survived almost everything.
Simulan natin yung story sa kanyang creation story, itong Spoliarium. And I have to say, the setting alone is incredible. Juan Luna painted the Spoliarium in what might be the most unglamorous studio ever. It's a workshop on Via Margutta in Rome, where horsemen parked their carriages.
Yes, at sabi nila, apparently the whole alley reeked of animal dung. So, amoy tayo ng kabayo.
Yeah.
So, imagine, di ba, trying to create a masterpiece. Habang sabi nila at that time, people there, would dodge what they call instant showers kasi syempre sa umaga medyo papaliguan yung mga kabayo. So, yeah, living in poverty, very romantic artist life sa Europa, mga panahon na to.
Pero despite yung amoy na yan, Luna Studio became the place to be. May mga avid Luna watchers na lagi na doon, nagka-crowd just to see him paint. And parang live streaming to. Pero 1800s version.
And the process was, of course, intense, no? Luna went through a lot of sketches before he even touched the final canvas. It took 8 months of work from 1883 to 1884. And yung inspiration ni Luna for painting the Spoliarium came from a reading of Charles Louis de Zobry's book about ancient Rome. And of course, bilang si Luna yan, no, nasa Europa na lang din siya, and na-visit niya rin yung actual Colosseum ruins.
And, speaking of visitors dun sa kanyang, studio, isa sa mga pinaka-interesting na kwento dyan ay, it involved the Italian royalty when King Umberto I of Italy and Queen Margherita showed up unannounced with their whole entourage, sabi nila, noong 1883. So, can you imagine like the shock? Like yung mismong hari at yung Reyna ay pumunta sa studio mo. Like, hindi niya siguro man lang makamayan kasi, di ba, like madumi yung kamay niya sa paint.
And the king wanted to buy it on the spot. Any price nga daw, sabi nila. But Luna said no. It was destined for Madrid for the Exposición Nacional de Bellas Artes.
Yes. So, now let's talk about the painting and its allegory. So, sabi ng mga nakakita at bumasa nitong ng painting na to, the fallen gladiators represented Filipinos under Spanish rule. So, the men dragging the bodies were the colonizers, and that weeping woman in the corner, inang bayan, di ba? Some motherland mourning for her children. So, I mean, sa konteksto kasi ng mga panahon na yon, whereas Luna was part of this reformist movement, siguro kaya binabasa ng ganito yung painting.
Maganda rin tingnan and very interesting for me ay kung paano si Luna na nasa Europa would use Roman historical scene na would create and always show this painting na layered siya with multiple interpretations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, we really don't have documentation about what Luna was trying to say, through the painting. But it's just so easy to make these connections kasi, diba kasi yung colonization naman talaga, it's a kind of an enslavement, no? But then, Luna, of course, is a very good painter and is able to send different messages through his artistry. The technical achievement alone was remarkable for this painting, no? The canvas, na-mention natin, napakalaki, 4.22 by 7.67 meters. No?
Yeah.
So parang maliit na bahay na siya, no? And Luna, of course, he entered this into the exposition. He was competing with European artists, probably with more training in Europe, who knows better yung styles, na sikat sa Europa, who had access to better materials, better resources, better studios, better everything, no?
Yeah. So they had access to everything except, sabi nila, that Filipino rage and determination and angst, di ba? Yeah, because when the Spoliarium debuted in the 1884 Madrid Exposition, Luna's masterpiece just dominated.
Gold medal agad, no? Parang kumbaga, pero may problema dyan kasi may controversy after that. Kasi despite winning gold, Luna was denied the Premio de Honor, the highest award. And many believe that it was mostly due to racial prejudice.
Oo. In fact, yung isang Spanish writer nga, si Emilia Pardon Bazan, even wrote this horrible review of the painting, saying that it's a brave, badly finished composition. And then she added that Luna daw was, and I quote, although Spanish by birth, is of a yellow race.
Grabe, di ba? Talagang garapalan, racist kung racist, di ba?
Yeah. Harapan
yeah. But you know who saw through all that? Walang iba kundi Jose Rizal.
June 25th, 1884, Restaurant Ingles in Madrid, dun dineliver ni Rizal yung what might be the most important speech in Philippine art history.
Yes. Ito yung kilala natin ngayon sa tawag na brindis, no? Pero context muna before we talk about the actual speech. The Filipino community in Madrid organized a celebration for Luna and another Filipino painter, si Felix Resurrección Hidalgo, kasi both of them won during the exposition.
Yeah.
So there's
gold and silver, di ba?
Yeah, oo. So there are, kasi parang hindi naman yun yung parang Olympics na may 3 winners lang, no? There are several medals up for grabs. So may several winners of gold, may several winners of silver, and so on and so forth. But ito nga hindi nakuha ni Luna ay yung Premio Honor o yung highest honor. And during that celebration dun sa Restaurant Ingles nga, of course, people will have to give toasts. No?
Yeah.
Ganun sila, parang ano, ganun sila magsalita na parang, okay, to celebrate you, I will say a few words. Parang ganun.
Oo, si Rizal, bilang si Rizal yan, parang 7, na-transcribing switch ng 7 pages yata, di ba? Kaya niya, all about me, charot lang. Pero yun nga, Rizal at that moment stood up and declared Luna's victory as, and I quote, translation in English, fresh proof of racial equality, di ba? But then, he went deeper. Sabi niya, yung spoliarium, it embodies the essence of our social, moral, and political life. So humanity in severe ordeal, humanity unredeemed, reason and idealism in open struggle with prejudice, fanaticism, and injustice.
Gandang metaphor na, no? So Rizal transformed the painting about Roman gladiators into a mirror of Spanish colonialism. Brilliant and subversive also.
Yeah, and of course, the impact was immediate. Si Graciano Lopez Haina, isa pang propagandista, declared, and I quote, "The Philippines is nothing more than a real spoliarium with all its horrors."
Yes, at ang sabi pa nila, Rizal was so inspired by this painting that later on, Noli Me Tangere was referred by Rizal as the Latin echo of the spoliarium. You know, so the painting influenced his book, kumbaga.
Yeah. So from Madrid, the painting toured Europe naman before Barcelona's provincial government bought it for around 20,000 pesetas. Then for 50 years, it basically disappeared into storage. Imagine, sobrang gandang masterpiece just sitting in some of warehouses.
Oh, yeah. Actually, may accounts na nagsasabi na hindi naman siya napunta sa storage. Parang it's displayed but not so prominently. So parang people just
Yun nga,
parang dismissed it and so on. But they're not aware of how important this painting was, no? Para sa mga Pilipino. And then the Spanish Civil War will change everything. No? In 1937, the museum storing the spoliarium was burned and looted. And the painting was damaged. So si Franco, no, leader of Spain, ordered it brought to Madrid for restoration. And it stayed in Madrid for 18 years.
Ngayon, ito na yung nakakagambalang bahagi ng kwento. Ano? In 1958, when they were preparing to ship the spoliarium to the Philippines as a gift from Franco's government, so Spanish authorities made an incredible decision. They cut the painting into 3 pieces. Para siyang ginawang skyflakes.
Yeah, alam mo, let's can we just sit with that, no, for a moment. Let's pause for a moment, no, na gets ko naman ang laki ng painting, 'di ba? Parang paano mo ipapadala yan? So, pero ang naisip ng solusyon, gupitin natin. Or hiwain natin. Although I understand that's really how they did it. Di ba nga, sa isang episode natin, yung, I think yung Motostela, the Rizal Monument, to be shipped to Manila, they had to, yung pedestal, they had to piece it by piece, no? And then nirecreate, binuo na lang dito. But yeah, the point is, they took a knife to our national treasure and sliced it up like a piece of, pizza. Kasi nga, easier to transport.
Pero, what the fuck, di ba? Like, I mean, ang dami kong tanong dito. Like, ipinaalam ba ng Madrid sa Maynila yung ganong plan of action nila, di ba? Sino nag-authorize niyan? At wala bang malaking barko dati ang Espanya na kayang kumarga ng malaking painting, di ba? Parang totoo ba?
At yung impact niyan ay makikita pa rin hanggang sa kasalukuyan. Kasi yung visible seams became part of the painting story. Every Filipino who saw it in the following decades could see the scars. Parang metaphor na din yan for our fractured history.
Yeah, hanapin na lang natin ng magandang reading, no? Yung pag... in a way...
Bigyan na lang ng meaning.
Pero lalala pa yung kwento kasi the damage did not stop there. No? Yeah. You would think na parang, kinot nila. Pero actually, may mas malala pang mangyayari. When it was displayed at the Department of Foreign Affairs building, a malfunctioning air conditioner created moisture that literally made mold eat away parts of the painting. I mean, ito yung nakakabother dito Alam naman natin na we're a tropical country, no? And we're quite a humid country. So, dapat maayos yung paglagakan ng painting. And yet, nagkaroon ng mold. So, it ate away parts of the painting. In fact, yung signature mismo ni Luna, And we, of course, we're quoting from reports, no, na there was a grayish patch from which the paint has been clumsily scraped away together with the mold. So, yung sa may signature, banda pa daw ito nangyari. So, medyo parang nabura ng konti yung signature.
Yeah.
So, medyo masakit sa damdamin yun. No? Kasi yung painting, I think, ang measure ng worth talaga niya is yung signature ng painter.
Yung pirma ng artist. Alam na kung Luna, no? Then, in 1962, they hired Antonio Dumlao to restore the painting. So, okay. So, I mean, that's good, right? They're making efforts for art restoration. Kaya lang, yung problema dyan, Dumlao had zero formal restoration training. Kasi ibang craft yun eh. Di ba?
Yeah,
yung pag-restore ng mga matatandang painting, iba pa yun eh. I mean, sabi nila, Antonio Dumlao was a UP Fine Arts dropout turned commercial artist who gave the spoliarium what he called, and I quote, facelift.
Kapal na mo. Talaga?
Ayun na nga. So parang marami pa rin ang nagde-debate sa kasalukuyan kung anong spoliarium ba nakita natin? Spoliarium ba ni Luna o spoliarium ni Dumlao?
But yeah, let's give credit to where credit is due. I understand that a lot of the big painters at the time didn't want to touch the painting. Kasi, di ba, buhay pa naman yung greats nun eh. Pero sabi nila, parang hindi kasi trabaho ng painter yan. Binigay niya yan sa conservator. Di ba? Pero, ayun, despite this.
Lakasan lang ng loob talaga kay Dumlao. Sige.
Itong si Dumlao, parang, sige, kaya ko yan. Oo. But at least, again, let's put lipstick on a pig. At least, itong si Dumlao had the audacity, na sige, para ma-display na natin. Diba? Anyway, we're lucky enough that as the technology got better, later restorations were able to do it better no 1982, and then in 2005, I believe, they tried to be more scientific. But then again, the damage was done.
Okay. Let's take a quick break kasi nakaka-stress tong kwentong na to. When we come back, we'll explore how the spoliarium escaped the museum walls to inspire rock songs, movies, and even political movements. Okay, welcome back to podcast. So, pinag-uusapan natin ang spoliarium ni Juan Luna at paanong ang obrang ito tungkol sa ancient Rome became a mirror for modern Philippines.
At nabanggit kanina na may layered meanings talaga itong spoliarium. And it's fascinating to also discuss how this work of art can be seen differently depending on who's looking at it. Like, para sa historians, it's a document. Para sa artists, it's a masterpiece. And para sa mga activists, it's a call to arms.
Yeah, and para sa generations of students, it's that painting you had to memorize for Civica at Kultura, or for HEC. Kasi ang hirap pa naman niya i-spell, Actually, yung pronunciation pa lang nagkakamali na eh. May spoliarium. Actually, it's with the I, spoliarium, Anyway, yeah, but seriously, the way different people read this painting is actually incredible. Naging part siya ng ating popular culture.
Yes, so halimbawa nga, yung Eraserhead song na Spolarium, na inilabas noong 1997. So for many years, for like 24 years, everyone was convinced or maraming mga pagpapaliwanag na tungkol daw yung di umano sa Pepsi Paloma controversy. Kasi yung lyrics parang matching, di ba? Gintong Alak, Enteng and Joey. So people thought that these were references to the TV hosts involved in this rape case.
Yan nga. Until 2021, when Ellie Buendia dropped a bomb on a podcast kung saan sinabi niya na it's all about getting pissed drunk. Yung Gintong Alak daw doon ay Goldschlager Snap. And Enteng and Joey were their roadies daw. Hindi sila Vic Soto or Joey De Leon.
But here's what Ellie also said that I found really profound. Sabi niya, and we quote, "I bet you that even though I have now explained this, the myth will still go on." I think Ellie really understands that the song had taken on its own life, no? And it's now separate from his intention.
Yeah, kagaya nung painting mismo. Tulad nung sinabi ni Bro kanina. Luna painted Roman gladiators, but Filipinos saw it as their own, as a reflection of their own struggle. So yun naman yung point ng art, di ba, ng sining. It can be a carrier of whatever truth you need it to carry.
And speaking of vessels, no? Theater director Vince Tañada even created this idea of a Luna Code in his musical obra ni Juan. So, yung concept was that Katipuneros would use images of spoliarium as a revolutionary symbols. And with Bonifacio explaining what each figure meant for their struggle. Ganda ng idea. Pero syempre, fictional yan.
Yeah, pero ang cool, di ba? And I think the most powerful, kumbaga, pop or mainstream culture homage has to be in the film General Luna. Nung 2015, di ba? When the director Gerald Tarog recreated the Spoliarium's composition doon sa assassination scene kay Antonio Luna. Di ba? So, dun sa scene, ang ganda nun di ba? Yung nag-slow mo, kinilabutan talaga ako, nakita ko yan. So, yun yung scene where Antonio Luna and Paco Roman were being dragged by soldiers exactly like the gladiators in the painting. Tapos, yung mga babaeng umiyak sa gilid, di ba? Yung mga madre kasi dun sa church kung saan nangyari yung assassination.
At kung titingnan pa, may deeper connection din dun kasi Antonio Luna was Juan Luna's younger brother. So, may fictional death of the general mirroring din kung ano yung nangyari talaga sa kasaysayan. So, sobrang kakakilabot.
Yeah, oo. And intentional to kay Tarog he even interviewed experts daw while standing in front of the actual spoliarium at the National Museum. So, he wanted to get it right, but at the same time, he wanted to get the feeling, no? And that feeling will now translate into what is shown in cinema.
Yes, so meron ba kayong like your own personal encounter with a painting? Kasi 'di ba parang lahat tayo merong spoliarium story kahit gano'ng kabanal. Like for example, nung first time kong nakita yung painting sa National Museum, nakakagulat yung laki niya. Tapos I thought it was like a very dark piece of art.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Ang figuratively and kind of like literally
Literal.
also,
ang dark talaga niya. As in, parang medyo struggle to really see what's happening.
Tama, kailangan mong lumipat-lipat ng pwesto para makita mo talaga. And I'm not sure if that's just like, if that's the painting or also it was like the way the National Museum put lights on it.
Yung sa akin naman, kung nasaan siya, yung architecture, kumbaga. Dahil, I remember, isa sa mga striking moment was when I visited National Museum. At dun, yung placing kasi, pagbukas ng pinto, pagpasok mo ng pinto, yun agad yung makikita mo. Ibang-iba yung may impact May something na magbibigay sa'yo ng goosebumps, kumbaga.
Yeah, yung kabila nun, di ba? Pag-ikot mo yung kay Hidalgo naman.
Galing.
Na maganda rin.
And also, na-notice ko na sobrang popular niya. Halos lahat talaga. Nabanggit natin sa first part ng podcast na talagang maraming nagpipicture, nagsiselfie. And it goes to show na may may promise dito sa ating bansa.
So, meron nga, nung tinitignan ko online, merong TripAdvisor review na nakakatuwa. Kasi sabi niya, I'm not the artsy-fartsy type of person, but this Juan Luna painting is definitely the first and only painting that evoked such strong feelings in me. Desperation and hopelessness in a gigantic package. And, I get that. I actually relate to that.
And hindi mo kailangan ng art degree para maramdaman yan. No? At makita yun. Multimedia artist John Clister Santos even created this viral pixel animation of Spoliarium. And he described the feeling like haunted by the bloodbath in front of you.
Yeah. And I think because the painting itself is so big, I mean, kapag nakita mo talaga siya, para kang lalamunin niya. And it really creates that effect. Kaya nga, I really advocate if it's possible, although I understand it's an issue of access, no? Kasi seeing the painting in person is different from seeing images of it.
Yeah.
Kasi makikita mo at mafe-feel mo yung intention ni Luna. Bakit kailangan niya i-paint ng ganito siya kalaki? No?
Yeah.
But I'm happy that the Spoliarium Hall at the National Museum is designed in a way that it's really the first thing that you see, no? Sabi nga ni Vic at ni Bro kanina. And at the same time, the National Museum is so visited, no? It's become a kind of a date place, no? Or families go and visit to see all these pieces. And, Filipinos can really just go there and see for themselves yung impact ng painting na ito.
Oo, libre kasi.
Yeah.
Yung National Museum, yun yung, alam mo, like, I'm proud of that. Kasi yung mga art museum sa ibang bansa, di ba? Halimbawa, Tokyo National Museum, right? Museum of Fine Arts dito sa United States. May bayad like $30, $40. Yung National Museum ng Pilipinas, libre. So, I really love that about it. Tapos, nung pandemic, nung bawal lumabas, when the hall stood empty for many months, the museum created a 360-degree virtual tours.
Mm-hmm.
So people could just zoom in on details that they'd never noticed before.
Mm-hmm.
So technology democratizing access to art. Napakagandang kwento.
So itong spoliarium, it still generates controversies up until this day. Hindi ko alam kung naalala nyo, no, yung yoga at the museum na nag-yoga. May mga nag-yoga sa harap ng spoliarium noong 2024 at nagalit yung mga tao sa social media.
Oo. Sabi nila, insensitive daw. Sabi nung, there were commenters saying that, they're turning their backside in a place of utmost respect. And others were worried about the humidity from all that breathing and, from all the breathing affecting the painting and the paintings in that area. But I think turning their backside in a place of utmost respect. I think that will depend on how you view yoga, right? Because for some people it's just workout, but it's also a prayer. It's also a form of prayer, right? And meditation.
But that only shows how protective yung mga Filipinos about the painting. Na talagang merong sacred feel silang nakikita dito sa spoliarium.
Which brings us back to those beep cards, no? Nabanggit nga natin kanina na it kind of went viral and it got sold out. And even though it's quite expensive, people weren't really complaining about the price kasi it's something iconic to own, no?
Actually, that's quite amazing kasi, beep card lang naman yun, di ba? Na ginagamit mo lang everyday. Pero people really wanted it because the spoliarium was on it. And pinapakita nun talaga yung cultural power ng painting.
Yeah.
And also, meron ding huge excitement that happened in 2018 when Luna's original study, the Boceto, surfaced in Europe after being hidden for 125 years. And it was in some widow's estate and had Luna's signature in baybayin script. Solid, no?
Ang ganda.
Oo, yung signature ni Luna in baybayin script, it's actually Bulan, no? So, dalawang characters lang yan, Bu and La. Yung N kasi or yung consonants, hindi yan dinedepict sa actual baybayin. So at least alam natin Luna knows how really to use baybayin, no? Hindi yung may cross, yung nagdadagdag ng cross, yung parang the way that the Spanish friars added it para hindi pamawala yung guesswork. And Bulan of course means moon, no? In Ilocano kasi Ilocano si Luna, no? So Luna, moon, Bulan. So Luna only used this signature for 4 other known works. And in a way, it connects Luna to pre-colonial Filipino identity even while he was mastering European techniques.
Yeah, sobrang ganda nun, 'di ba? Makita mo yung parang yung boceto kasi para siyang miniature nung spoliarium. Richie Lerma from Salcedo Auctions, sabi niya, recognizing that inscription was one of the highlights of his career. I can imagine that, and the study of course sold for millions.
Pero syempre, beyond market value, what does the spoliarium mean today? Especially sa panahon ng Instagram and TikTok. Does a 140-year-old painting still matter? Ano sa tingin niyo?
I think it matters more than ever, no? Kasi in a world of fleeting content, no? Swipe up ka lang, ibang content na yung makikita mo. The spoliarium represents permanence, no? It survived wars, it survived being cut into 3, it survived bad restorations, and it's still there. It's still powerful.
Yes. Saka, yung art naman kasi, di ba, can have different meaning for different generations, right? So it could be, I mean, during the time of Luna, like propagandists like him interpreted it as the colonial society. Perhaps more contemporary Filipinos would see, how it depicted state violence and so on.
And yung fact na it continues to attract 4,000 visitors a day or daily, it suggests that Filipinos still hunger for this encounter with their history. So kahit selfie man yan o sa kahit anumang paraan, they're still engaging with the work, which is really meaningful.
Yeah, and I don't care for people thinking that selfies are worthless. I mean, you want to be part of the painting. Isn't that kind of like a way to appreciate the painting, no? It's so important that you want a selfie with it. So, in a way, the painting strikes me as something that is simultaneously many things, no? It's a technical masterpiece that shows Luna's European training. It's a political statement against or about colonialism. It's a touchstone of national identity. And yes, it can be a background for Instagram posts. Why not?
Yeah, and like the way people do that ngayon, like halimbawa, Gen Zs or the younger ones, the way they post with the painting, the way they make TikToks about it also reflects how it's a reflection of how they see and interpret it. And maybe that's the ultimate testament of Juan Luna's genius, kasi he essentially created a masterpiece that is able to reflect whatever the Philippines needed to see or needed to depict themselves at any given moment.
Yes. So yeah, that's it for our episode on the Spoliarium. Next episode, we'll be exploring another powerful form of Filipino storytelling. So ito yung clue para sa next episode. Kasya ito sa inyong pocket. Napakamura lang nito, but it created superheroes. It created fantasies that shaped generations of Filipino imagination.
So very exciting. So for now, don't forget to follow us on social media and visit our website, podcast.org.
Salamat sa pakikinig. Until next time, this has been Podcast, Conversations on Philippine History, Politics, and Society.
Yes, and as always, have a good day.